Who is the devil? We've all heard rumors about him. Whispers go around about him being a strong, supernatural force. Some say he is an adversary for the universe, there to balance out the good in the world. If God is behind all that is good in the world, then the devil must be behind all that is bad. The movie kicks off with Ramirez, who works as a security guard in an inconspicuous building. He is telling a chilling tale about the devil. He explains how the devil works on Earth, sometimes in human form and other times in his monstrous one. He tells us about the natural powers put in place to control humanity. God punishes our bad deeds and helps us learn from our suffering. Meanwhile, the devil only gives us the kind of suffering that puts one on an obstructive path. When people do wrong things, they must repent for them. A man stands at the top of a tall building. He commits to taking his own life. However, when he jumps, he falls onto the roof of a truck below. Bowden, a police officer who has lost his wife and son in a car accident, is assigned to the case. He finds broken glass from the building. A pathetic mechanic, a sharp-looking gentleman, a very sleek and confident lady, an intuitive old woman, and a security guard enter an elevator. The five wait patiently to arrive to their destination, when suddenly it stops. Ben, who is the security guard, works at the building. The old woman demands that he fix the situation. She blames him for not having proper communication equipment, like a walkie-talkie. Meanwhile, the staff, which is in charge of the elevators and monitoring system, is trying to figure out the issue with Dwight, an engineer. Dwight announces that the elevator system is fine. He inspects it further to find out why it had stopped. Ben is claustrophobic. When he was younger, his brother locked him up for 6 hours in a truck. This situation is bringing up those bad memories. The monitoring team is in continuous communication with the passenger. This calms them down a bit. The team ensures the passenger's safety and promises to fix the problem immediately. Up until then, everything seems fine. However, the light starts blinking on and off and sometimes shuts down for much longer intervals. While this is happening, Ramirez makes a strange observation. He sees a suspicious face on the security footage. The face, to his horror, looks like the devil. He takes it seriously, but to his annoyance, the other employees dismiss it. While the power is out, a passenger by the name of Sarah Caraway gets hurt. She had felt something attack her back, and she blames Vince, the sharp-looking gentleman, for the bruise that is beginning to form. The staff takes her accusations seriously and calls the police. Detective Bowden arrives at the scene. Meanwhile, the elevator passengers are blaming Vince for the alleged harassment. Though there is no substantial proof yet, the officer asks Vince and the rest of the passengers to show the camera their ID. Their identities are crucial to determining who hurt Sarah. The team goes through the visitors list and tries to find as much information as they can. During the next shutdown, something tragic happens. The assaulter has graduated from harassment, like in Sarah's case, to fatal attacks. The victim lies on the floor of the elevator, deceased. The passengers are shocked. They know that the aggressor is in an enclosed space with them. They have nowhere to run or hide. All suspicions turn to Ben and Tony, the former of which is a pathetic-looking man. There are no definite reasons to doubt Sarah or the old woman. Besides, their stature is too small to cause such an attack. The passengers can't bear the sight in front of them. Reluctant to share their thoughts, they glance around uncomfortable. Tony reveals that he is not new to such things. He has spent some time in Afghanistan, where he had seen a lot of gruesome events. The passengers find his expertise chilling and begin to suspect him. Meanwhile, there has been some progress made about the case of the man who took his own life. The forensics team has found a note which once belonged to the victim. The note implies that the devil is catching up to him. The workers begin to believe Ramirez, who has been insisting that something sinister is going on. They call the elevator and fire team. They want to get the passengers out of there as soon as possible. The teams arrive and start their rescue operation. In the next power outage, yet another soul is claimed. This time, it is the old woman who has been put to eternal rest. Now, Ben, Tony, and Sarah are the only ones left. Desperate to protect herself, Sarah puts her trust in Ben. She is suspicious of Tony, and at this point, believes he is the culprit. Now down to 3 options. Bowden urges his team to hurry their search. They must find all the data available and determine why the 3 came to the building. By tabulating all the given resources and results, Bowden finds that the smart gentleman was a fake businessman. He made all sorts of deals, which ended up harming people. In short, he's not a good man. He also finds the truth about Sarah. Sarah belongs to a very wealthy family. She has been running scams on married men to take their money. She is doing the very same thing to Mr. Caraway right now. The team finds Sarah's current husband, and they realize that he owns the building. They come up with a theory. Perhaps her husband has figured out Sarah's plan and wants to get rid of her. They believe Ben was hired to take her out. This way, Sarah's demise could not be pinned on the husband. Now, a question arises. If her husband is up to that, why were the 2 passengers eliminated? Surely, he could have gone for Sarah first. In the elevator, Ben and Sarah have paired up. Ben trusts her more than Tony. As expected, another power shutdown occurs. This one is longer than the others. Who will it be this time? When the power is back, Sarah is there with Tony. Ben is on the floor, devoid of life. It is very shocking to the investigative team and security staff. Now down to 2, they wonder who it is. Is it Tony? What if they got it all wrong and Sarah is the culprit? Bowden notes that she isn't new to shady deals. The very moment they got into the lift, Sarah accused Vince of touching her inappropriately. Thanks to the camera footage, they now know that she was lying. At this point, she is the prime suspect. However, Tony doesn't seem innocent either. The police have found that Tony was carrying a sachet into the building. That very sachet was not with him when he entered the elevator. But Tony is a mechanic, so before Ben passed away, Tony tried to fix the elevator. He tried to get out through the upper part. Just then, Sarah began screaming at him. She accused him of trying to run after committing the heinous crimes. Ben pushed him in forcefully so he couldn't leave. At this very moment, a sleekish smile appeared on Sarah's face. She might be behind this after all. Now, when there's only Sarah and Tony left, Lustig, the main security inspection man in the monitoring room, is continuously trying to get in touch with Dwight, who is facing some unexpected circumstances. He is trying to fix the elevator manually. He drops down onto the elevator with the help of the rope. As Dwight goes to grab his walkie-talkie, he falls onto the elevator. The passengers inside experience a sudden thud. They realize something has fallen on the elevator with a mighty force. Blood begins to spread on the ceiling. In a last-ditch effort to save them, the elevator team breaks up the walls. Meanwhile, Bowden is still investigating. He comes to the conclusion that Ben was a thug, the old woman was a thief, Vince was a scam artist, and Sarah is a liar. Tony is still unidentified. In final power shutdown interval, the unexpected happens. Instead of Sarah harming Tony, like everyone predicted, she is put to rest. Now, all the circumstances are against his odds. Tony is the last and only suspect. In a terrifying moment, the old woman is upheaved from the ground. A scary force resides in her soul and eyes. Tony starts to remember all of his previous actions. He wonders why he was put in such an awful situation. In a flashback, he remembers how he had caused the accident of a mother and a son 5 years ago. While under the influence, his car had crashed into theirs. He did not do it intentionally, but he had to hide his crime from the rest of the world. He had an apologetic note in the car. It was the same note that Bowden found. All along, Tony was responsible for the death of Bowden's family. Tony is broken. He begs the women to take his life, like she did to the others. She tells him he must repent for his crimes first. The others have their fair share of sinful actions, but Tony's is by far the worst. He has to pay for it now and for the rest of eternity. It was the devil all along. After all, there must be a force to keep humanity in check.